Hi guys, what I'm going to show you today is how to make a really simple Easter garden ready for this coming Easter weekend. If you are a member of the All Saints congregation, or you're the child of a member of the All Saints congregation, you're welcome to post a picture of your Easter garden on the post on our Facebook page as well. But I'm just going to run you through a really simple idea that you've got. Now you can see I've got lots of different things here. So I've got egg box and some scissors, so I'll show you that in a minute. I've got some different containers just that I found lying around in the kitchen that I've put a little bit of water in. I've got a little bit of a broken plant pot, but what you're looking for is something like a few stones or something like that from your garden. I found these bits of sponge that I cut up into smaller strips. It could be just a normal kitchen sponge. I found a bit of wood lying around in my garden. I then got hold of this tape as well, which will be a really good colour for the cave entrance, the tomb entrance, and then I just went out into the garden and grabbed as much different plant matter as I possibly could. One last flower remaining in the garden as well, so I just grabbed all of those different bits and pieces. I'm going to make it on this tray, so if I make a bit of a mess, doesn't matter, I haven't got loads of clearing up to do. So let me move these bits out of the way, and then we can start putting this together, and you can see how simply this can come together. You don't need any kind of flower arranging skills, you don't need any artistic skills or anything of any kind. So the first thing that I'm going to show you how to do is, if you don't have any flowers in the garden, which can be a thing at this time of year, but you would like to have some flowers in your Easter garden, then you can quite simply get an egg carton. Now mine has got these quite long pointy bits on, so some will come up smaller and you can make more petals. But what I've basically done, if I show you with this one here, is I've cut along here and then just down here. So I've sectioned off one of the egg holder parts, put that to one side, and then I've just trimmed it to make lots of petals. So try and have a bit of a curve on your cut. You probably need an adult's help with this if you are a child watching this, a younger child. Some of these are easier to cut than others, which is why I've got quite big scissors, because this is quite a tough one. But you see how it can make quite a pretty petal shape out of the egg box. And there's a lot of egg boxes around at the moment, I'm sure. So it doesn't have to be perfectly correct. It can just give the idea of a flower. The more irregular it is, the more unique it is. So that means it's definitely your flower. So there you go. So there's a couple of flowers, and then, I mean, this is quite a good colour for a flower, a nice apricot colour, but you can colour it in with some colouring pens or pencils as well, and just give your flower petals a little bit of extra colour like that. So again, this is quite like we had with the other craft, with our toilet roll flower craft. This is quite an absorbent surface, so it's quite quick and easy to colour these in as well, and you can get quite a good effect being quite rough and ready with your colouring in as well. So don't worry too much about neatness. If you've got paint, you could do that. You could do a bit of finger painting, lots of different ways you could do that. So colour in the centre as well. I didn't have a yellow to hand, so I'm going to do a nice orange centre to my flower. And you can see the colour is starting to gradually spread out a little bit. There we go. So we can make extra flowers if you can't find any in your own garden. Okay, so for my one, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to do it this way on, so you'll be looking at the tomb, which will be here. So the tomb is obviously the main part of an Easter garden. So I'm going to pop this at the back as a nice backdrop, and I'm going to place that there. I thought this made quite a good tomb entrance. So you could use a sellotape roll. It doesn't matter if it's still one that's being used, because this is kind of like a temporary flower arrangement in effect that you're making. So there we go. So if we pop that there, and I want to wedge this in place with a couple of things. We want to have some different leaves and flowers coming down this side and this side, so we get the impression that you walk through a garden to come to the tomb. So I'm going to pop, I've got this like little oblong tray here, so I'm going to pop that there. And then this side, that's a slightly smaller hole, so I'm going to put, got a small jam jar size there, you know, kind of a slightly larger than a mustard pot size jam jar. And then I still need something here, so I've got this other pot, and you can see I've got a little bit of water in each of those ready for putting in the different plants and decorations. Now I don't want my tomb rolling around, so, and I also want to make it look a bit more like it's covered in stone, even though it's got this good colour. So I'm going to just wedge it in with a couple of bits of these flower pots. So this is where you could use your stones and just rest them kind of, you could rest them down here, you could balance some on top, that kind of thing, just to give the impression that this is you know, made of rock, built into the side of a rock face. Okay, so we'll pop these bits up here, put another bit there, and we'll have another bit here. So we very much started to make it look a bit more like it's part of a rock face. Okay, and then we're going to put some other flower parts. Doesn't want to stay there. Let's move those around a bit. We're going to put some other flower and leaf parts in there as well. Now I'm lucky because I've got this sponge. Now if you've got a sponge, even if it's yellow, I mean if you've got a little bit of black food colouring or something like that to make it look more like rocks, that's okay. So I'm just going to place these over the top as well to give the kind of impression of a few more rocks and boulders. Okay, so I hope you can see that okay. Let me just swivel that up very slightly. There we go. Right, so now we're going to start putting in some of the plants that we've got. So I'm going to pop that one in there straight away because it's quite tall, it's very pretty. And I think I'm going to put some nice big leaves behind there as a bit of a backdrop, because I think that sets that flower off nicely. Then I am going to pot over the other side. I've got some, in this one, because it's quite a shallow one, I've got some different bits of these, the different bits of some variegated bush that comes from outside the house. So I'm going to pop these in here just to look like some low-lying shrubs and bushes along there. I'm going to pot these kind of ferny bits. They'll be great. I'm going to shove those in here. So they'll look really good, won't they? Like shrubbery as well, which is fantastic. Then I'm going to put a couple more bits in here. We've got some more of these ferny bits. Let's try and pop all of them in here because I think that looks quite effective over on this side. So you can see, you can just have a play, see how things fit, where they work best. I've got some of these, those of you who know your plants, I've got forsythia flowering in the garden. Another bit of leaves over there, and I think over here we could do with a big leaf there, and maybe a bit of the forsythia just to plug that gap there. That's not the forsythia, sorry, that's the buddleia. And then we can pop that bit there too. So you see how it fills up quite quickly, quite easily. You want to try and pop these over the edges where we can, so that we give the impression of the bushes flowering there. Okay. Just move that around. It's okay to move things around and have a bit of a fiddle and see what works best. Okay, I've still got a few bits and bobs left. The other thing that I'm going to think about doing whilst I'm doing this is also how I can disguise the entrance to this as being gaffer tape. So I'm just going to tuck very carefully under the bits I've balanced on here some different bits of greenery as well, just so it makes it look a bit more natural. So you can kind of see the effect it's having. And some of these oddments of egg box that I cut off when I was making the petals, I can scatter a few of these down here as rocks as well, because they go with the terracotta of the plant pot. Okay, so if we have a look, you can see that's really starting to take shape now. I'm going to pop another bit of that there just to make that a little bit more overgrown, because we want it to look like there's lots of plants going on. Maybe we can pop another bit over the top there as well. So it's very much about tucking the tomb away so you can see the tomb, but it's kind of hidden away in your garden. So we can plonk these different pieces on as well. So I think it's coming together quite nicely. So we've got the tomb in the centre, and it's surrounded, oops, well done, knock that down. The tomb in the centre, and it's surrounded by all these lovely plants. I'm going to take that one off. There we go. And then I can maybe pop that over here. And I've got a little bit more forsythia, which I'll just cut up. I'm just using like some general craft scissors to cut these up rather than secateurs, obviously, because they're a little bit more dangerous. The secateurs are not the craft scissors. There we go. And then you can also pop some, I found some extra little forsythia flowers lying around, so you can pop these on top just to add to the greenery on the top. And any last little bits of egg box, and then if you've made a flower as well, you could tuck it in somewhere over here. There we go, and I think that is our egg box. No, not our egg box, it's our Easter garden just about done. So have a go. If you do make one, we'd love to see your pictures of it. So if you are in the congregation at All Saints, there will be a post on Good Friday asking for you to put your photos of your Easter gardens in the comments section, and we will then share those around as well. Okay, thanks very much. Enjoy making your Easter garden. Bye.